This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Milwaukee Brewers getting a much-needed victory on the road against the San Francisco Giants tonight, 11-3. Welcome in to the Milwaukee Brewers POSTCAST live show. I am your host for this evening. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me over there on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at Brandon_Snide. You can also follow a lot of my work over on 620 WTMJ. That's WTMJ.com, covering all Wisconsin sports as I bring you the postcast era for the Locked On Brewers channel here on YouTube. Fear not, you will still get Chuck Freeman Monday through Friday on your daily Locked On Brewers podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, thank you guys, each and every one of you, for making Locked On Brewers your first listen each and every day. Excited to discuss the outcomes following most Brewer games over the course of the next few months. A few of you have been asking what happened to Chuck, or where is Chuck? Chuck is still here. Chuck is still going to be doing exactly what Chuck has been doing. I am here to do post-game shows throughout the course of the season. Last night, as we discussed, a tough loss for the Brewers. It was a 5-2 loss last night. Tonight, a much, much different story for this Milwaukee Brewers team. Lots to jump into. We'll examine the most valuable player from tonight, as well as what the turning point was for the Brewers' 11-3 dominating win over the San Francisco Giants out there on the road. As always, feel free to chime in with your thoughts on tonight's game. We got a few YouTube comments that we'll get to here shortly. I do want to make a show note here. Thank you to each and every one of you who took the time out of your day, either last night or today, to welcome me to the postcast show. A few of you reached out to me on social media. A bunch of you left comments in the YouTube section, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you. It's going to be a fun year, and it's going to be a lot of fun if the Brewers continue to play like they did tonight. Tonight's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and if you're a Bucks fan, yes, unfortunately, they are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get the NBA playoffs. They are giving you $250 in bonus bets today. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your prize. Again, lots to get to, but first, let's begin with what happened tonight. And I'm going to start with Jose Quintana. I am not sure how this happened, but 29 other teams throughout Major League Baseball said, no, I'm good. I'm going to pass on Jose Quintana. And for the Brewers, we thank you. We thank you, Matt Arnold. Thank you. I thought he was dominant tonight. 6 innings of work. He had a few innings where it was a little, busy on the base pass, especially in that 6th inning. He got himself out of that with a double play, as he had throughout the course of the night. Just 1 earned run. He has allowed, believe it or not, over the course of his starts this season, just 2 runs for the Brewers. And again, he had a later start in spring training. He was a late addition to this Milwaukee Brewers team. However, he has been everything and more that this Brewers team has needed, and especially when you look at the injuries sustained to the starting rotation. He's a veteran guy. He's been there. He's done that. And I'll tell you this, watching him over the course of these few games that he's pitched here in Milwaukee, it feels really, really good to be on the right side of Jose Quintana, right? You see him in the Cubs uniform for all those years with the Mets in the playoffs last year. Again, I thought he was fantastic. And shout out to the Brewers offense tonight. Again, putting up, a crooked number out on the in the box score, 11 runs tonight. Unlike last night, and we had talked about how this was sort of an annoying loss last night. Obviously, tonight the Brewers get the 11-3 win. But last night, the frustrating part was Robbie Ray. They had Robbie Ray on the ropes last night, and they weren't able to kind of, pin him against the ground and score some runs. Tonight, the Brewers bats were finally able to make starting pitcher Jordan Hicks of the Giants pay. William Contreras with a 2-run RBI single early in the 3rd. And in the 6th inning, the floodgates opened up for the Brewers. And speaking of those floodgates, The Brewers with a big inning in that 6th inning. Why wait any longer? Let's get to it.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
The 6th inning for the Brewers. It all started with old friend Willy Adames. He had an errant throw to first base. David Villar's foot was off target. He was ruled out on Jake Bauers. Was ruled out on the field. The Brewers did challenge it again, winning another challenge. After that, the Brewers simply batted around, including a grand slam from Christian Yelich to dead center for his 4th home run of the year. Jake Bauers hitting a 2-run shot, and just a ton of fun for this Brewers offense. We saw it when they played the A's on Sunday, what this team is capable of doing once they get rolling offensively. Look, you heard me mention Jose Quintana. You know what this team can do when it comes to starting pitching and defense. We all know that, right? You got a platinum gold glove winner in Bryce Turang. We're going to get to Bryce Turang. He's going to kind of be a little bit of my story as we head out of the show later tonight. So stay tuned for my thoughts on Bryce Turang. And maybe it's going to be a hot take. That's a fun tease for you. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think it really is a hot take. And I'll gather some of your thoughts that are live on our YouTube chat. And I promise Jack, Nicholas, Jason, I'll get to all of your guys' comments as the show goes on. But the turning point, again, the 6th inning for this Milwaukee Brewers. You see it on today's run show if you're watching over there on YouTube. 8 runs in that 6th inning. And ultimately, that's basically what essentially put this one to bed for the Milwaukee Brewers on their way to an 11-3 dominating win. And Nicholas, you're going to get the first comment of the day. I appreciate this idea of a live reaction show after games. Thanks for hosting the post-game show. You guys have just been incredible, man. I really appreciate that. Shout out to you, Nicholas. Thank you for your comments. I really, really appreciate it. Jason, you're another one. You were in here last night with me. A late Brewers game I'm in Milwaukee, so it's a late Brewers game for me at least. I don't know where all you guys are. We love Yelly Bombs. Yes, we certainly love Yelly Bombs, and we love them more when the bases are loaded, Jason. So a fantastic game again for this Milwaukee Brewers, not only offense, but what they were able to do defensively tonight. A big difference from last night. We had talked about what was kind of annoying. It just felt like the opportunities last night, Joey Ortiz getting the night off tonight, but just the opportunities defensively last night seemed to kind of slip through the Brewers' fingers. Tonight, that was not the case. And that helps when you got a guy like Jose Quintana who's going to force ground outs. He's going to force, if there's a guy on base, he's going to force the opportunity to turn the double play more times than not. So I thought obviously the pitching was fantastic. The defense was much better. And there is a good point, though, that Nick brings up here. The only criticism I have is I wish we could spread out some of these runs between games instead of just blowing out one game and barely hitting the next. But I guess that's baseball. Yeah, I agree, especially when you look at the difference. Last night's approach for this Brewers team felt very similar to the approach where they were tonight, right? Patiently aggressive. I don't even know if that's the right term. I'm going to use it. We're going to go with it. Patiently aggressive, picking their spots and jumping on them a little early. They had opportunities last night against Robbie Ray. They just couldn't execute in timely fashion. But that's going to happen. Again, I agree with you, Nicholas. I wish every game could be an 11-3, a 10-2, whatever type win where we can kind of just kick our feet up. I can start the post game maybe in the 7th inning. Who knows? And we can have some fun early. But nonetheless, it's a big win. It's a big win. It's a big bounce back win on the road. Again, a tough place to play. And this is a really, really weird schedule for the Brewers. I was looking at it at work today, kind of just examining, what post games would look like going forward. A random West Coast trip just to San Francisco. Then they return back to the Midwest to head to St. Louis and Chicago and then back to Milwaukee. It was a very weird, quirky schedule. And we'll talk more. I know Chuck has kind of discussed it on the daily Locked On Brewers podcast. Their schedule is kind of tough throughout May. At least on the surface, it looks tough. But again, a big win tonight. Everything clicked for the Brewers. Yelich with the grand slam. Jake Bauers had a 2-run home run. The Brewers defense looked good. Caleb Durbin looked good. Bryce Turang continues to be really, really good. And I don't want to spoil, what I want to talk about later, as Jaden kind of chomps in the YouTube chat saying Turang top 10 in MLB in hits. guys, Bryce Turang's really, really good. Like really, 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 really good. We know what he does defensively. Offensively, he's been just as good this year. We're going to get into a little bit more of Bryce Turang as the show goes on. Again, if you guys have thoughts, if you have comments and you want to chime in with those, please feel free to do that. Coming up after this break, though, I want your comments over here in YouTube. Give me your player of the game. I'm curious how you guys feel, how the Brewers fan base feels tonight. I will read off your comments, who you think should be the player of the game. I have somebody in my mind. I'm curious if we have the same person. We'll get to that right after this. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, guys, $5, you get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love this app. I love how easy it is, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into the player props. Guess what? Giannis, it hit tonight. But from three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine, guys, live private bets into the same game parlay for a chance to win big. Now, here's the important thing. Do not miss out on this offer. The NBA playoffs come and they go, and it goes quickly. Head to FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right. Thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the show tonight. I did mention who I wanted to be the player of the game, and a couple of you have chimed in. A couple of you maybe have different thoughts than I have on tonight's player of the game. Mike with Quintana. I have a few that have texted me saying it's Turang, as Clutch on the YouTube chat chimes in with Turang. How do you not go with Turang? 4 for 4. I feel like he turned 10 double plays tonight, or at least he was a part of 10 different double plays tonight. I don't think there's a wrong answer here, guys. I really don't think there's a wrong answer, but I'm going to go, we'll go with Nicholas here. If Durbin continues at this pace, he is the long-term solution at third base. Short answer, yes. Longer answer, absolutely yes. He's been fairly consistent in comparison to everyone else the last 3 starts. He'd be my player. I would agree with you, Nicholas. And again, thank you for the comments. You have Caleb Durbin as your player of the game. So that's 3 different names in a span of, 3 minutes that you guys have given me. I have a few people texting me saying it should be Yelich. We have Turang. We have Quintana. We have Caleb Durbin. I think that's the fun of tonight, guys. I think that's what makes tonight a special night for this Milwaukee Brewers team, securing the 11-3 win. They improved to 13-11 on the season. More importantly, they get another road win. But let's get into who I think should be the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I think, and I kind of alluded to it in the middle, actually the beginning of the show, you could probably point to, again, as you guys have said, 2, 3, maybe 4 different players for tonight on a dominating 11-3 win. Bryce Turang continued his hot streak, going 4 for 4 tonight. Yelich with his 4th homer of the season, the grand slam there in the 6th inning. But again, I'm going to go with a guy who was turned down. Well, maybe not turned down, but 29 other teams turned their head and said no thanks to Jose Quintana. I mentioned it before when we began the show. 6 innings of work tonight, just 1 earned run. Dominant again, and just an incredible signing late in the offseason from this Milwaukee Brewers front office from Matt Arnold. If you haven't caught on yet, I mentioned him yesterday. Yesterday was the first postcast. Today's the second postcast. Yesterday was a loss. Today's a win. I'm going to praise Matt Arnold because I am really high on Matt Arnold. I'm a big fan of general manager Matt Arnold and his team and the way he runs this Milwaukee Brewers team since he has taken over for David Stearns. But when you look at this Brewers team, right, you see the injuries to Brandon Woodruff. Tobias Myers begins the year on the IL. DL Hall has an injury. Aaron Ashby's banged up. Where would this team be without Jose Quintana? Don't even mention Nestor Cortez, who's now on the 60-day IL list. Where would this Brewers team be without Quintana? I don't know, right? And I think tonight you can kind of look at how this team responds when they have a guy like Jose Quintana on the lineup, right? When he's on the mound, it breeds confidence in the offense. Now, you would, want to say, well, that should be every night. Guys are a little bit more relaxed at the plate when they know they got a guy like Jose Quintana on the mound, and they're able to kind of, look for the pitch that they want to hit and not press as much with other guys on the mound. But again, fantastic. You could go a handful of different routes. Bryce Turang has been fantastic. I'm going to get into Bryce Turang before we wrap up, but I thought Jose Quintana has been a perfect addition coming into the season. Again, just 2 runs allowed by Jose Quintana in multiple starts this season, undefeated in a Brewers uniform. But there is somebody, not Jose Quintana, although he is my player of the game. He's a few of you, other of you guys have also chimed in saying he's your player of the game. But there's somebody else you may be talking about tomorrow.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Bryce Turang, guys. Bryce Turang has arrived. Bryce Turang is here to stay. I don't think anybody would ever argue or disagree with that statement. 4 for 4 tonight. And it's way too early to look at exactly, what his numbers were this year versus last year, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm just curious, and I know we're only a month into the season. I'm a big OPS plus a person. I'm not a big analytic guy, but those are the ones that I can fully understand and really get behind. 2024 Bryce Turang finished with an OPS plus of 86. This year, 100 is average. He's at 113 so far a month into the season. Last year, he batted 254. This year, he's batting 308. His on-base percentage is up. And again, I know, guys, it's a smaller sample size compared to a bigger sample size, right? He had 619 plate appearances last year. He's already up to 100 plate appearances this year. So I just want to kind of keep your eye on Bryce Turang. And I know we had a few people chime in on who he should be. Jaden saying that's his player of the game. So I think that's interesting. He says Turang for me is the player of the game, on base 5 times at leadoff. It really sets the tone for the offense. I absolutely love Bryce Turang at the leadoff spot. I don't think he should ever leave the leadoff spot. I love Chourio in the 2-hole. I mentioned it last night. I absolutely love Durbin down there at the bottom of the lineup because it gives opportunities for guys like Bryce Turang, as we had seen, and guys like Chourio to have some speed on the bases in front of them. I thought that was really important for Bryce Turang to kind of showcase exactly what he's able to do. We all know what he's able to do defensively, but offensively is even more important for this Milwaukee Brewers team. And as like Jaden says, it sets a tone for this Brewers offense. And when you get a guy like him on the field, like when you're able to get him on base, it creates the pressure on opposing defenses, that we call it Murph ball last night. Pitchers feel that, defenses feel that. When you've got Chourio at the plate and Turang on first, good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. It usually is going to turn in to something positive for the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's exactly what happened tonight in the 11-3 win for this Milwaukee Brewers team. I do want to get to a few more comments because you guys have been fantastic over there on the YouTube chat. I like this one because I wanted to bring up Piamps as well. And Clutch says, even though we were up by a lot, I still got nervous when they threw Piamps out there. I'll say this, and I know it was a non-leverage situation, and Murph has said, Piamps for now is kind of not going to be in a leverage situation. I thought tonight he looked a little bit more like himself. It's a lot easier when you're pitching up 11-3, but you have to start somewhere. Brian Hudson, I'm still scratching the head on exactly what he was doing. He only gave up that 1 run, but it still felt a little wonky in a non-pressurized situation for Brian Hudson. And again, for Piamps, I mostly agree with Clutch there. I am still a little worried exactly, what happens with Piamps. He's out of options. What are they going to do with him? Again, a lot of injuries surrounding this Milwaukee Brewers pitching staff. You don't want to, get guys, too far into, April and May and have way too many innings pitched. So again, I think it's going to be a fluid situation for this Milwaukee Brewers team as the season goes on, and certainly, hopefully, for a run at the division. few more here before we get rolling, Nicholas. This chat postcast is going to be rocking as we get games that finish at a reasonable Central Standard Time. Hashtag excited. Hashtag go crew. I got to give it up to you guys, man. You guys have been fantastic to me. I really, really appreciate it. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be able to talk a lot about obviously the Milwaukee Brewers, hopefully winning games 11-3 tonight on their way for their 13th win of the season. Another late one tomorrow. I'll be right here. I hope all of you will be as well. Again, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, anywhere, you can download this podcast. It'll be uploaded here in just a few minutes. You can listen to Chuck Freeman on the Locked On Brewers Daily Podcast. Again, Chuck is not going anywhere, guys. I'm here just to do the post-game shows and chat with all of you on our way to hopefully more wins than losses. Don't forget, guys, if you got YouTube, if you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that bell, get the notifications when I go live. I try to go on as soon as the game ends. That's going to be my goal for each and every game, not just because it's almost midnight here in Milwaukee, but just because I want to get your reaction, get the feeling right away as we get to talk about Brewers baseball. Who has it better than us, right? Go Brewers. 11-3 win tonight. They improve to 13-11 on the season. Again, my name is Brandon Snyder. You can follow me on Twitter at Brandon_Snyder. And don't forget, thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen each and every day. And as always, go Brewers.